Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. My name is Minty Betts. This is Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports on Twitter and Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas on Twitter. This Sunday, we've got the Minnesota Vikings at the New Orleans Saints. I like the Saints here, no surprise there, but I don't know if I like 7.5 to 8 points like them. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I'm just glad to be able to bet on a game where both teams are trying. I hate the bowl season. This is ridiculous. Unless you're in the top four, you never know who's going to show,
really?
who's not.
I kind of like the bowl games now. Yeah.
I want to bet on two teams.
Well,
that
I had
are
a
both
great
trying
day
to win.
yesterday, so.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I think I've had 3 bowl games the entire bowl season just because it's so hard to find both teams looking to play. But
true.
Yeah, you mentioned 7.5, and I think that's a good talking point here because I don't see this line going back down to 7.
Yeah, I don't either.
And you're in a dead zone between 7.5 and 9. Normally, this would be a perfect teaser candidate because you've got New Orleans at home. They're very good at home. The only thing is, it's a higher scoring total. The total's a little bit higher than what I normally like to play. But if you're into teasers, you've got to have the Saints on your teaser, I think, in this one. They're playing in the strongest home field in the playoffs since Seattle's on the road, and Seattle hasn't done as well at home this year as they have in the past.
But they've done so well on the road.
Well, yeah, I know. But normally, Seattle's one of those places you don't want to play in the playoffs. So now this year, New Orleans is the strongest home field, and I've been there, and I don't get away for a lot of football games, but it's crazy there.
Yes.
That was just a regular season game when I was there.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be crazy. So you got to give them the biggest home field advantage of anybody in the playoffs, probably 4.5, I would guess. But you got a Minnesota team who I know Kelly's not here, and Minnesota's her team. She makes a lot of money on Minnesota.
And Coach Zimmer's the best ATS coach.
She loves the coach at Minnesota. But until Minnesota can start passing on first down, some play action passes on first down, they're not going to have success. They want to run the Cook up the middle, but Cook has got 2 hurt shoulders.
Yeah.
They can't feed him the ball all the time. So they need to do play action and get the ball out because the Saints are one of those teams, I think they're in the top 5 and putting pressure on the quarterback. So you got to do a little play action. Sure, you can run it once in a while, but you cannot run it all the time on first down. We saw that last year with the Redskins. They continually tried to run the ball on first down, and all of a sudden they're 2nd and 8, and they put themselves behind the 8 ball there. But you've got a team that in the Saints, strong home field here. I don't know if I'll play a minus a 7.5, but a teaser seems like the way to go for me. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I like it. Thank you. Marco?
I've used 3 teams in teasers this week. I did 2-team round robin teaser with them, and this was one of them. We talked about in an earlier video. I did Buffalo, one of them, and then Philadelphia being the other one. I think those are 3 live teaser plays. But for this game, where I'm looking at, one, I think this line's high. I will say both the line and the total, and it's because of the public perception of what the Saints have done this year. Sean Payton, for whatever reason, last week in a meaningless game, they're still throwing the football all over the place. Drew Brees is still in the game, why he's playing.
That confused me, too.
Okay, why you have him on the field, I must have missed. Was there some other records they needed to go for?
They do have a very good offensive line. So I would be more concerned if it was a team that couldn't protect the quarterback, but they've been able to.
But still, why tempt fate?
Yeah, I understand.
You've got everything, the game was in hand. I mean, they win, 42-10 or whatever it was. But for this one, I think this total is too high. And we're now into playoff football, and things change in playoff football. You start working the clock, you're playing, and if you're Minnesota, there's no gimme to what your game plan's going to be. You said it. Dalvin Cook's going to get the football. He's going to get it a lot. I know he's banged up, but they rested him last week. He's going to be the best he can be for this week. Now, maybe next week, if they advance, might be a different thing after taking the hits this week. And if you've got Kirk Cousins going up against Drew Brees, you don't want to be in a shootout. You're not going to win that matchup with Kirk Cousins. Until he shows me that he can win a big game and carry a team with his arm, I'm not going to go with that type of game plan. So for me, I'm looking at this total. It opened up at 47. It's creeped up to 49.5, and there's even some rogue 50s around town.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the under in this game, and I think the Minnesota game plan is going to be we need to shorten this game, play defense, and they're number 11 defensively. This is a team that I think is not going to be intimidated by going into the Dome. That's another factor where you talk about how hard it is to play there. In teams that don't play in domes that often, it's magnified. Well, when you play half of your games in a dome yourself, it's not going to be as big of a factor. You're not going to be intimidated for the Vikings. So I think they'll be able to get some of their play calls off, because that's a big problem. They know how to do silent counts and so forth. I like the under in this game. I'm going to take the 50, but I'm going to wait. There's only one way that this total is going to go. You look at the betting board already, 80% of the bets on the total have been on the over, and it's going to continue. And we're taping on Wednesday, Brian. You know that when all of the people come to town on the weekend, the casual bettors, they're betting the Saints and they're betting over. Nobody wants to sit and watch a Saints game and be holding an under ticket. I'm going to be holding an under ticket, and I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? You'd never feel good about it, but that's the smart bet to me in this game.
Well, just a couple things in that regard. 51 is such a key number when it comes to totals. If you're looking to bet the under, I agree. It's going to continue to go up. And the reason it's going to go up is because all three of the Vikings' best players for skill position players are playing. They're two receivers and the running back. And another thing, it's sort of against your total on the under. The playoffs are different than the regular season. If you play somebody in the regular season and you've got a big lead, you take the foot off the gas. You don't want to upset them. You don't want to piss them off. You want, because in case you might play them in the playoffs. Once you play the Minnesota Vikings this week, or you play the New Orleans Saints, you're going to run up the score, because you don't want to be the team, the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl a few years ago,
28-3,
who took the foot off the gas and lost. So they don't need to worry about playing that team again this year. They'll worry about that in the future. So if a team can run up the score, and we saw this a little bit with Alabama in the bowl game, but they will run up the score. And that's why it's tough for me to play the unders in games like that, when you have two offenses that can put points on the board, and especially if they're healthy.
The last thing I'll say, though, on the total, and we know how many points the Saints have been scoring. And I know, Minty, you love your Saints, and they're scoring.
My third husband, Drew Brees, yes.
Yeah. You look, though, at who they've played. They have not played a good defense at all. They played Carolina, who has packed it in for the season. Tennessee, although their offense is good, their defense is not. Indianapolis, mediocre defense, but their offense has been struggling lately. So it's putting their defense on the field too much. San Francisco does have a good defense, but they're banged up. They're banged up, and they scored at will. Atlanta doesn't have a good defense, and then they played Carolina before that and Tampa before that. So this is the best defense that the Saints have faced in basically almost 2 months. I like the under.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Just wait.
Yeah. Okay.
1.5 and then hit the under.
Thanks, guys. $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. All daily packages for Monday's action are only $9, including any 5% best bets normally priced at $40.